The pandemic brought with it a competitive boom in the edutech industry. In order to make a mark in this industry, a unique approach in bridging quality education and fun learning is required. AhaGuru is one such company that aims to take such quality education to every corner of our country. On today's podcast, we will converse with Mrs. Gomathi, the CEO and co-founder of AhaGuru.
Hey all, welcome to Women's Day podcast. Here we have the sweetest and greatest leaders of women. Gomathi here, CEO of AhaGuru. Welcome, Gomathi.
Thank you. Hi, Arun.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So we want to share your experiences and your learning to all the young girls and the women who's out there. So that is the prime motto of this session. Okay, we'll start with your career and then we'll get it started one by one till date, and we'll end up with your suggestions or advice to the upcoming young population. Okay, that's the flow it is. So we'll start with first, why did you start your career in education first? So you could have had multiple options, right? Or why did you choose education?
Okay, so that's a very nice question. Basically, why did I want to work in education, right? So for this, I have to tell a little bit about myself, and so because education has played a very important role in how I lead my life right now, the changes or the impact that it has happened in my life. Okay, so I come from a very lower middle class family. During my childhood, I had a lot of difficulties in terms of in going to school itself. We struggled a lot, and in fact, many people came forward to actually help me out in fact paying my fees, etc. I got a lot of scholarships, and because my father is a carpenter, and my mother was initially not working, and she was working now in a government school, not the ICDS center, where basically financially we were not very sound. But the one thing my mother insisted and kept insisting when we were young is basically study well so that you can actually make some impact and do well in your life, right? So she kept insisting, and in fact, a lot of people around her kept saying that why are you spending so much when you are struggling with your financials? Why do you want to spend so much on education, particularly girls' education? Because me and my sister, so we are both girls, and the thing is, anyway, they would get married and go to a different place. So why do you spend so much money for their education? That was a question that has been kept on bombarding, people kept on bombarding on my mother. But the only simple answer that she said is I have a bigger dream for them, and I want them to actually achieve something big. And I think she had gone her determination, I think, is what drives us through that phase. And she was very clear that she wanted us to get a good quality education. So I think she kept insisting on that, and she worked really hard to ensure that we do. So that was the first thing. That was the first inspiration that I felt like education can change your life in a bigger way. And also, I saw many people were coming forward to help me, and I think that if I work on education, I think there is a chance that you end poverty cycle. You do a lot of things. You could do a lot of things if you actually change and if you provide good quality education across. So that's the reason that I think I wanted to work in education.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, real impactful story from a live example. What education can do it. Awesome. Okay, then from there, you are part of some NGO and your schools, right? Can you brief a little bit more, because your education started, I mean, career started from there.
Non-profit.
What did you do there?
Yeah, so when I was in school and college, so basically I was part of a lot of student struggle movements, etc. So always going forward and protesting and all comes that was part of. In fact, I organized some protest in college, etc. So always that social to do something to change the lives of other people was always been part of my dream. And when I finished my college, basically I decided that I will actually, because of family situation, etc., I decided that I need to work. And then I thought of pursuing my master's, etc. At that time, I was not very clear whether I should do a non-profit or work in a company, etc. I was thinking I should work in a company. But then I met Dr. Balaji. So then I thought, why not try working and particularly when I saw science experiments which was very related to my studies, because I finished my BSc physics then. So I thought like, oh, science can be taught in this way, and it is so much fun teaching science through experiments. So the first time I really felt like something connected to what I've actually learned all these years. So that actually inspired me, and I thought like, why not work in this field and like help children learn science and love science. So that's what actually like I started with Aid India, and there I got opportunity to actually start two schools also, where we were after tsunami. Some people approached us like from Bankasala. They said like they wanted to actually support a bigger thing, not only like a short term thing. It has to give a long term impact. So then we actually drilled down to starting two schools. So we started schools. I was about, I think, 21, 22 years old that time. And and I when Balaji was discussing, I said, okay, I'll take it up. So I didn't have any clue of how to start a school, etc. But I thought it was a good I think anyone, always, I think for many people, starting a school is always a dream, right? So for me, that actual dream came true. So we had a lot of fun, actually, right from buying the land to construction to actually hiring teachers, then setting up at a model schools. The schools are still running, so it's from KG to 5. In and setting up in rural areas, that gave me like lot of experience on what it takes to start something from scratch. So I would say typically that would be my first startup, if you're, I mean, if not in the financial mode, but starting something from scratch to actually getting it to some kind of a shape with the local resources, etc. That was very challenging, and at the same time, I really enjoyed setting up those two schools there. So we were working as part of Aid India. We were working with many schools. Like at one point, we worked with 13,000 government schools. So we were visiting a lot of government school children, and we were doing after school centers, etc. That is the point when we were all working with primary age group children for science and mathematics. Language and mathematics. Language is not English again. Tamil was the one, because a lot of people think that children in Tamil Nadu will be able to read Tamil. But what we found is more than 60-70% of children in class 4 and 5 are not able to read fluent Tamil. So simple text, standard 2 text itself. So we worked with the governments to change that, etc. So that was a huge program that we were doing. At that point, we also wanted to do something for the middle school children. So that's when we were trying to see how can we actually work with middle school like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that was in the year 2011-12. And that time we found that even finding good teachers who understands the concepts were very difficult to find in rural areas. So it was quite difficult to find resources itself. And what we also found was like training the resource person, and in turns they go and train the children. There is a lot of learning gaps that were happening, and we couldn't achieve children getting that skill. So then we developed small videos. At that point, videos were not very popular, but we did something as an experiment, and we saw that if you directly if you directly teach children, there's a huge impact and the change in the skill level that we saw. So that's when we thought like maybe we should work, because science and math is not only problem in rural areas. I see that the problem across the world. The science and math problem was there across the world. And that point we discussed, and we thought it is it's good to start something a company which focuses on science and math education. And I think that's how AhaGuru was born.
Okay. At age 21, everybody wants to go to movies and tour and to help teach. Okay, that's awesome. Okay. So can you tell a little bit more about Balaji? You said in between his name. I want to know who's Balaji and what he's doing.
Okay, so I met him in the year 2003. Basically, he finished his undergrad. I mean, he has secured All India Rank 4 in IIT. That's what we put. He's a brand ambassador when we put his photographs in as part of AhaGuru. But so he has done he has got All India Rank 4, and he did this here in IIT Madras. And after that, he went to US to complete his master's and PhD. I think around 2-3 years, he finished his PhD itself. Master's and PhD together, I think he finished in 3 years. And when he was in US, I think he was part of AID, that is Association for India's Development. That's a group in US. And where they formed a lot of student chapters. The students were coming from India and studying there. They formed as chapters and they wanted to contribute. So they raised funds to contribute for social causes here. So he started a lot of chapters there, etc. when he was a student. And I think when he finished in 97, he decided that he doesn't want to work anywhere. He wants to directly come to India and start working he set up Aid India. So he came and registered Aid India in the year 1997. And his thing was like he wanted to actually work on the improving the quality of education, as well as like basically make a social impact. And so he didn't work anywhere, finished this thing. In fact, his professor, I think, I said like, I have not seen a fool like you who would actually finish something in 3 years and PhD, and would come to go to India to do something. And I think he said that you would regret this decision because you're taking a very hasty decision, is what I think he said. And a few years back, I think Balaji has got Distinguished Alumnus Award from his university from Maryland. And that point, the same professor, I think, shared in the speech that so he is more proud of Balaji. He said like he was not very sure whether Balaji continued here, he would have been this much proud, but he's changing and impacting lives of so many people. So he said like he's really proud, and he was so happy that he took that decision at that point. So in the year 2003, yes, I met him, and we started working together basically we wanted to work in education. So health and education was the two things at Aid India that we were working. And right now we are also Aid India has been it's expanded, and we are also now constructing homes for homeless people also. So that has also been added. But the two main important thing that when during from 97 to I would say about 2011-12, we were focused mostly on health and education. And for me, education has always been close to my heart thing. So I kept working with him on that. And I think we had a good rapport, and we know each other very well. So we thought like, why not start something together? And my interest is also in science, and he's also very, because as a science student, he also loves teaching science. So that's how we decided to start.
That's all. So AhaGuru has grown from to a great extent. It has impacted a lot of people. So how it has impacted you? That is one part of the question. First part of the question is like, why did you, or how did you make the decision to become a CEO, and how it has impacted you personally? So both are connected. So I thought of adding those two questions together.
I don't know whether we have reached great heights, but yeah, we are in the process, I could say. Yeah, definitely. I think we have grown, and like basically I didn't have any idea of like how to run a company, because as soon as I finished my undergrad, I joined a non-profit sector, and I was working and kind of I was on my own in a lot of things, because the structure or the culture that we had in India was each one was given a responsibility, and no one would come and ask us questions, etc. So we were on our own, and we had a lot of creative ideas. We tried things and we fail and we go back, etc. That's the culture. So when we started AhaGuru, it was kind of, even I was quite blank on like what should I do, or what am I supposed to do was not very clear. Then over a year or two, I thought like maybe I should start focusing on marketing and like branding, etc. Because Balaji was focusing on content part and like content development. Then I thought like okay, so then I started also taking classes for younger children, like 8th standard, 9th standard, because I love doing experiments. And one thing that I thought is, in the younger classes, children should learn science through experiments. I mean, there is definitely not a second thought on this, because when you look at the concepts being taught using experiments, suddenly there is like, you can see the spark in their eyes, and suddenly that aha moment comes in them, right? So so I decided to take classes for children. So so initially it's all were bootstrapped. So I started taking classes for 8th and 9th, but I also thought like one of us should start working on marketing, etc. Because AhaGuru is very, very small. I mean, in the initial years, we were not doing so much of online. We were trying out different things, but everything was taking time, and we were not raising funds also. So So we tried, so I thought I'll spend that one, and I started doing marketing. And one of the biggest challenges that we were facing is like a lot of other people in the tech space were raising a lot of money.
Yeah.
So being in that space and at the same time not spending too much money, but and you have to basically make people aware of this brand. So that was a interesting problem to solve, because I feel that when you've given a lot of constraint, you become more creative, right? You come up with a lot of, because you have only limited budget. With this limited budget, how do you take up this particular brand and make it more visible? So I would do most of the work. See, most of the time, marketing, what people do is like they find an agency and they'll give their marketing, like for example, branding activity, etc., to a marketing agency, right? But I, on the other hand, I was talking to all the vendors myself, talking to them, understanding like how they actually approach and what they do, etc. So those little nuances, and also negotiating with them on the terms and looking at a long term instead of a short term. All these things help me kind of build a brand to some extent without burning so much money. Many people ask, like they think, in fact, a few years back also they say like, must be this big a team. I said no, it's a very small team. But the kind of uh, people have told me like, I'm seeing AhaGuru everywhere when I go road, on the here, there, etc. They see. But I think the strategy part with a little creativeness, I think like on the marketing side, helped us get that kind of a brand visibility. So for me, uh, I think like in AhaGuru, I was handling everything to some extent, like operations, marketing, finance, etc. And I owe a lot of it to Aid India, because in Aid India also I was doing a lot of different projects. So for some time I was looking at only finance, and for some time I was looking at only project management. I was coordinating, and donor relations were there, which is equivalent to investors. So what happened is, when you get exposure to so many different projects and different teams, right? Then when you do a startup in market, I mean, basically you start a company, all these things help you in some ways. So that actually helped. And then for me as a person, I think I evolved, and so being a team head is different from being a leader. I think I'm still trying to be a good leader. I don't think I've achieved to that level, but still trying. So I would say that.
On the conversation, you said you have a lot of competitions, like Byju's, Unacademy, who's having tons of shitload of money. So how do you defend them? Like, what are the, as a CEO, what are the challenges that you, or the risks you take to at least fend them off?
Okay. See, first is we take care of our customers. There's a famous thing, like, if you don't take care of your customers, somebody else will, right? So like that, I think it was the Amazon head who said that one. I feel like for us, the USP is basically for AhaGuru, we are very good in content. So basically we focus more on content, and we help children understand the concept. So for us, our growth is mainly due to reference. So a lot of our children who go through this program, they talk to their sisters, siblings, and like friends, cousins, etc., and say that, why don't you join AhaGuru? Because I have benefited from them. Please join AhaGuru. So that was one thing I think that helped us grow from to a larger extent. And the second one is basically we don't go after like coaching top children. So we said like we won't do particular. See, it's also about like, I don't do these things. So if you are interested really, then you come and study here. And we also give students an options of taking even one subject, etc. Because end of the day, we want to help the student. So even if they've joined other coaching classes, etc., any of the coaching class, and they find some subject difficult, some topic difficult, they can always come here and take up that particular subject alone and learn from them. Because it is not like they had to again take up all three subjects for all 2 years, and there is no lock-in period that we give. So these are some of the things that, as a philosophical thing also, we decided that we won't do, because when we understand children, we know that children keep changing, right? In 8th standard, I think like I'm very good in science, but by the time I'm 11th, I don't want to go into science, right? So we feel the children should have that option possible. And if you do a lock-in period, parents put a lot of pressure on children to continue, though they don't want to continue. So we said like we don't want to do all those things. I think these are some of the factors that differentiated us from our competitors. And parents also realized after coming here and all. So I think that was one of the key things that helped us, I think, grow and survive and sustain and ensure the sustained growth in this sector as well.
Okay. Okay. So, as a female CEO, have you faced any challenges? If there is any, share it with us. If there is none, that's awesome.
Okay, being a CEO itself is very difficult and very, very challenging, right? And being a female CEO is again I mean, added challenge, I would say. Okay, some of the challenges generally, like women, as women, I mean, not only in the CEO position, in any leadership position or in any role for that matter, would be like. So sometimes people who are working with you may not like to pick up instructions from you, or they would say, "Who are you?" I mean, they won't say in typical words, but that would happen. That is one. Second, if you are having a strong co-founder, people take you for granted, and they might think that you may not know something. So there are a lot of times that people have come to me and said that you can't basically do this. You can't, since you don't have MBA, since you don't have this, since you don't have that, you can't take up this organization from this level to that level. Okay, they said like you can take up maybe an organization which is 4 crores to maybe 7 crores, 10 crores, but beyond that, you can't do it. That's that they actually told me. I mean, directly, right? So, like that is one this thing, and also there are other challenges as women. Basically, a lot of expectations from the society also actually pull us down. They expect, like for example, to take care of children, to take care of the family, to take care of cooking. See, I know that many households, right? Even today, when husband, see earlier at least like only husband were working and women were at home doing stuff, right? Right now, even women are working and husband working, both are working, but still lot of responsibilities lie on women's shoulder, right? Like they have to basically like get up in the morning, early in the morning, and they do all the cooking and get the children ready, send them to school, again come back, ensuring that the kids study, etc. Everything lies on the women, and they have to also go out for working. And but men is always seen as, okay, you are working hard, you go and you come back, and nothing is expected more out of that guy.
I have real world. I mean, I have my personal experience as well. For example, myself and Sridevi, we both were working together in the same GUVI. So when we go to office and we come back, we had a maid at home in house. So she'll never come back to and say anything about my son. She'll go and complain as if she hasn't taken care of the kid since she has gone to office or like that. So Sridevi will take care and she'll come back to me and say, Arun, see, we both go to the same office, but she never, I mean, she takes you for granted, as you said. But for me, it is a complaint, like, or it is a penalty kind of it. She doesn't. Your point is very valid.
Yeah, so basically also Trixie, because when AhaGuru started, I just gave birth to my younger daughter. And she was, so I left her at 3 months and I go to office, then come back, feed her, go. It was quite a trauma for me also. But people were always asking like, oh, you left 3 months and have come to office. But they've never questioned my husband anything of that, because both of us, I mean, at last, like he's also a dad and I'm a mom. But it always like, oh, how can you leave? And how is that you're leaving and coming? It must be so much problem for the child. I mean, the child would have so much difficulty, this, that, etc. But you don't feel like dad is also going to office, right? And that somehow, so there were a lot of points where the society would like, if I go at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock to home, right, like from office, people would say like, okay, this is the time, so they'll immediately see the watch or the time, right? And it's not that I'm going to some party and like coming at 10 o'clock, we are working and coming. But on the other hand, I mean, I'm not saying it's only for me, I'm saying generally for women, if they go late, they say immediately, they look at the watch and say like, what is the time now, you're coming home, right? But if it is a man who is coming at that time, they would say, oh, so poor, this fellow is working so hard for the family. So these are some of the things which actually demotivates, because we are working so hard, right? And so that kind of recognition doesn't come, and you always need a woman to be very successful. You need a very strong man in your house. So any woman to be very powerful or to do some work, this thing, you need somebody to compromise on that, right? So you need a very strong person. So there is a proverb, right? For every man's success, there is a successful woman behind, whatever. So for every woman who is successful, there is definitely a strong man. A man should be behind her, because for me, in my case, my husband has been a real gem and has been supporting so much. But because without that, I don't think I'd be able to do the things that I have been doing now.
Okay. So one of the ways to overcome is to have a good husband.
I don't, but at least we should sensitize. See, I feel that today we should sensitize basically boys and family members also when a woman, and also see, as women also, like when we are working and we go back and we see our dad and mom, right? You have to go and ask your dad to also take part in the work that you're. See, it's not like when you're looking at yourself, you see like somebody has to help you. I'm saying like everyone has to change. Everyone, if each family changes, right, and then we can see the change in the society. But we take things for granted also. So we say that, okay, my mom, it is her duty, so she is doing. We won't even value that thing that she is doing after coming home. We think that this is her responsibility, right? So I think we have to change first, and we have to also change in our house.
Sure. Okay. Now let's go to the positive part of the leadership. Like, so as a women leader, what is the benefits, or what is the good things that you have seen it? Why any women should get motivated to be a leader? Probably I'll put it that way.
See, women are born leaders. Okay, they are born as a leader. Okay, so we generally, as a I would say that women are very good. Men are also good, but women are especially very good in multitasking, right? So we multitask well, and that is a boon, and that's also a curse. So for us, like not doing multitasking and focusing on one thing is also very difficult. So wherever there is a problem, we try to go and fix it, right? So when you're a team head, etc., I think that's a very good quality to have, like where you find problems, fix it, etc. But that, and also we are very empathetic. We understand the need, and we understand the problem areas. We understand how to get work done. I think that is one of the best thing that we could do, is like talk to people, get them to do what you want, right? So so that I think like so we will be very good in operations and leaders. So but as a leader, if you're to be a great leader, right, you should also learn when to actually stop doing multitasking and keep focusing on one thing, right? So because as a leader, you need to do multitasking at sometimes, and sometimes you need to shut out the multitasking, because those will be distractions. Like for example, in my case, I've been learning to do some things, like for example, I'm very good in operations. Okay, I'm really good in operations. So but the thing is, I need to focus on business development, right? So if I keep, as a CEO, if I go and do operations all the time, then my time I'm not spending on the business component, business growth, right? So but as a leader, then I have to take a back stand and say like, no, I won't, though I am good at it and I can come up with so many innovative ideas to fix those things, I have to tell myself, no, shut off, Gomathi, you cannot go there. And I have to look at the business development, right? So that, because that is not our nature, that's not our nature, but we have to consciously make this decision. That is one thing. And so I feel like as a leader, to inspire and everything, like you have to share. As a woman, I think a lot of women actually get inspired if you have a women leader, because you know that they can understand your issues, problems, etc. So I think that has been I mean, being a CEO, etc. So in fact, in AhaGuru, because I'm a woman, I don't know, but we have 70% of our work, I mean, basically the people in AhaGuru is women, and leaders also about 70% are women leaders inside the organization. I don't know, because if it is women, it has happened, but yeah, that's how it is in AhaGuru.
That's awesome. Actually, we are trying to compete. Like we have, I mean, in our case, like in GUVI, we have more women than men. Okay, probably we'll try to compete with you and try to beat you soon.
Sure.
Okay. So as a women leader, like how do you encourage your work culture or the environment to help women to grow? So is there anything you do specifically to do that, so that we can also learn from you and then start doing that in our offices?
Okay. See, first thing is we don't do any, at least till now, we are not doing any special workshops for women, etc. That we are not doing. Maybe we should think of those lines, but we have not yet started. But the one thing that we do is basically we give freedom and flexibility to women, because that is the most critical thing that they have. And women who are coming back from break, right, because of maternity holidays or those kind of things, so that we give a lot of, like, because they need to take care of, so we do understand that they need to take care of the children, and particularly there are a lot of our team heads who have their kids in like 9th standard, 10th standard, and they want to be at home, but at the same time they want to work, right? So we give flexibility and freedom. I think that was the key thing to ensure that they have the freedom to implement, and a little more flexible one. And the second one is in terms of in terms of salary or the package, we treat equally, men or women, we treat equally, and say that, okay, so if this work if this work requires this is the kind of remuneration that is required, whether it is a man or a woman, we give the same thing. So there is no partiality seen there. And these are some of the things that we do, but in a larger sense, like should be. But I think, yeah, we should talk about gender equality, etc. But I feel more than talking to women on gender equality, I think I should talk to men more about the gender equality. So, so yeah, that we have to do. Maybe like for giving women rights, I have a lot of meetings with the men in the organization. So that I'm not doing. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, how a woman can develop her leadership qualities? Like typically, most of the, I mean, not most, I would say, some of them are very timid or pious. So that's how our culture has brought up the women in the society. So how to break in that, or is it okay to have that behavior and then be a leader? So how to go to the next level?
Yeah. So we can't change the society overnight, right? People are going to be biased. People are going to be, and particularly India, you have caste discrimination, you have gender discrimination, you have black and white discrimination, you have basically color discrimination, you have discrimination for, I mean, a lot of things, rich, poor discrimination. I mean, you talk anything, there is a discrimination, right?
Yeah.
So we can't change the society overnight. So as women, of course, people are going to be biased, or people are going to be judgmental about what you can do, what you can't do, etc. For me, it is about how you take it up, right? For me, if somebody says like I can't do it, it is like a fuel to me. Like I'll say like I'll show it to you, right? Okay. So I won't get bogged down by it, and I think that it is their problem. It's not my problem that they think. About my capabilities, it's their problem. It's not how I'm seeing myself. And I think there is no limitations to learn. And of course, everybody doesn't know everything, right? So you have to keep learning, whether you are a male leader or a women leader. You have to keep learning. I should be open to learning. And people are going to talk a lot about you. Most of the times I see that they don't talk positive things about you, they talk negative things about you, and they're going to ignore you. They're going to, so, but I think we should not be, I say, bogged down by those reactions, because if you keep looking at it, you are not going to grow in your role, or you're not going to grow in your career. I think what you should do is like,
one question. I have seen some scenarios, for example, in the leadership discussion or in general discussion, they don't include a woman into that team. Let's say I am a woman and I was not included. How should I get into that conversation, or how do I force myself into that discussion and enable myself or help the team? How this is a common situation I've seen many places. How to break it?
Okay. See, if like I'm in the room and I'm not involved in the discussion, is that what you're saying? Or even I'm not being called into the meetings? What is
both the scenarios will happen. Like both the scenarios. Like even though you are a leader, sometimes you might get neglected. Okay. I mean, for the title, you will be a leader or the role, but you are not included in the discussion. That could happen. And sometimes, worst case, it's in the room and then ignored. That is the worst of the scenarios. The first is happens more like you are the leader, but you are not included in the discussions by men or by the team, I would say.
Okay. I see. Okay. So if the person, suppose if I am in the room and I've not been included, like when you are talking and I want to intervene and say things, right? You have to just stop them and say, like, I have some points to share. Okay. And if you're very scared of saying those things, if you're not comfortable saying that, practice something like before a mirror or something. Keep talking and say things. Talk to your friends. Say whether your communication actually, like, whether you're able to communicate the point that you want to say. But if you're scared, and see, one thing is, like, you don't need to overthink. Just say what comes to your mind. Most of the time, everybody blabbers, right? That's what I've seen. So it's okay to just say things out of, like, if you want to say something, just say it. Don't hold it back. Don't feel like somebody's going. Don't give too much importance to what others think. And you cannot please. See, one of the problems that women have, right? They want to please everybody.
Okay.
Stop pleasing. One thing that women should do is stop pleasing everybody. Just stop it.
Okay.
Okay. You don't please. You please yourself. You want to do something. You want to feel good about yourself. Do that. Stop pleasing, like, okay, I have to be a great daughter. I have to be a great wife. I have to be a great mom. I have to be a great leader. Stop it. You can't be great at everything. When you do one thing, you have to lose on something, and you should be okay with that. You cannot satisfy everybody 100%. Stop it. By trying to do that, you will burn out. Stop it and just say something. So if you want to be a good leader, focus on that. I have compromised many things. Maybe I'm not a great mom. I don't know. I don't care. I want to be a great leader. That's the choice I've taken. Okay. I don't want to be a great wife. I don't know. My husband might be expecting, like, being at home, etc. I don't know. I don't even care. I don't even ask him what he wants. Because if he says something, then I have to do right. So I don't even ask him. I say, like, okay, I'm not even going into that question. But I want to be a great leader. So for that, I would put any number of hours of effort to be a great leader.
Okay.
So women, stop pleasing everybody around you. It's okay to actually screw up things. It's okay. You can fail. You're absolutely okay to fail. There is nothing so ashamed of, like, what if people think about me. See, the biggest problem that I think women today have is, like, the shame of failures, right? But the guys are always been, even from childhood, that's how it has been. That's how we've been brought up. Like, for example, they would allow you to go and boys to play in the sun and, like, fall from the top, this, that. But women, they'll say, like, be careful, don't go outside, don't go in the sun, sit here, don't go outside. So what happens is, like, we are too much cautious. We are not okay in risk taking. We are not bound to that. Our whole thing is, like, don't go outside, don't go here, don't go there. This will happen, that will happen. So the entire risk taking behavior has come drastically down. I think that is one of the biggest reasons that women are not speaking also, because they are kind of very, very doubtful about themselves, whether they can say something or not. So first, stop pleasing everybody, be yourself and say something. It's okay. Fine.
Okay. That's awesome. Actually, I should stop the questions right away here, because people should carry this one message from this thing. Okay. Yeah. One last question which I want to ask is, like, who is your inspiration and why?
Yeah, so my inspiration, there are many people in my life who were my inspiration. It's very hard to say one person. So my mother is my first inspiration. As a child, always you have your parent, your inspiration. So my mom is my greatest inspiration. Balaji is my inspiration. My husband is my inspiration. My daughters are my inspiration. So all around, my team members are my inspiration. And my friend Arun here is my inspiration. So I have a lot of people from whom I get inspired. So that it's very hard to say one person.
Awesome. That's a very sweet thing. Okay. So, so I'll stop here, because I want your last message to resonate fully. So stop pleasing women, or to all the women, stop pleasing whoever it is. It's mother or father or a daughter or a husband or a teammate. You don't need to be sweet. Okay. The same thing I've heard it in my life with Sri Devi. Okay, the same I am hearing it again as well. So thank you, Gomathi. Thanks for your time. We'll stop here. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and it has been a wonderful interview, and my pleasure actually sharing my thoughts with all of you guys. I wish you all a very, very, very happy Women's Day.